loyal servant to the Demon Lord is now in Grand Summoners Global, and this man Diablo is packing a little bit of heat. He has possibly one of the strongest conditional archgen effects in the game, along with some good debuffs to really buff up the damage when it comes to dark units, and even being able to push out quite a bit of damage himself. So in this video, we're going to be seeing what this man is all about, if he's good, if he's bad, or how broken is he really. Also, huge shout out to my man Brian for allowing me to do this showcase. Without him, this wouldn't have been possible. Diablo is quite a mixed bag when it comes to what he is as a unit. You could argue that he's an attacker, a debuffer, and a little bit of a defensive buffing character. Main passive in his kit that you really want to be looking out for is going to be Tempter. This autofills the art gauge of adjacent allies in the party by 6. Only when your own HP is above 90% or more. If you actually do opt in for his true weapon, you can lower this to 80% or more, but it's definitely not needed. The skill gives you 40 art gauge, which is pretty potent. You have an art that's able to buff up defense, equip CT speeds by 30%, and reduces enemies attack by 30% as well. Mind you, this type of equipment CT buff will actually stack with a universal equipment CT buff, so you can make defense equips extremely quick. His true art gives you an evasion rate down and also a physical res down, and the super art is what allows you to blind an enemy, and it reduces dark res by 120%. In terms of his slots, he actually has some pretty good ones with a 5-star physical, 5-star defense, and a 4-star support. In terms of best in slot here for the 5-star physical, if you're going with more sustained comps, you definitely want to rock out with something that's going to be giving you a lot of archgen. So you're going to be looking at equips like Curse Light Sword if you're maybe a little bit older / newer, or something like True Izanagi. 5-star defense, you're going to be mainly countering whatever boss you're fighting. And then for the 4-star support, Finn Aloha Shorts, amazing, since this gives you an equipment CT buff and archgen, or you could go still rock out with Keon, Arc Ignite, you know, the usual. And as for the crest on the man Diablo, what you want on this one? I'll be telling you equipment CT could be really good on this unit just because you can get the 4-star support and the defense equip up quicker. You can also go with attack up because he's going to be hitting relatively hard himself. Also, art gauge up isn't bad, and that's pretty much it. Those are like the main ones I would recommend. If you want to go a little bit crazier with like Promise of the Funeral God or something, hey, knock yourself out, but those are the ones that I would be sticking to. So now it's time to look at this boy's animations and see how good they actually are. We have his attack skill here, which is just a few slices in front of him, kind of very abrupt. It doesn't seem like it has a lot of flow to it. We have the skill, conjures a flame, throws it forward, looks okay. We have the art, which is a bunch of slices. I always love a lot of movement in my stuff, so love that. We have the true art here, which is 2 huge, oh, actually no, 3 huge slices there, and it looks okay. I like how the beginning of this looks. I don't like how the ending looks. It looks a little, I don't know, a little bit off to me. And the super art, you're not gonna be able to see it all because the ball just flies off the screen right here, but this is actually a huge death ball type deal that he throws, and then it causes a massive eruption. Depending on where the ball lands, you will be able to see more of that eruption, by the way, and it won't just go off the screen every time. Overall, with Diablo's like animations and stuff, I would say like they're a solid, maybe a 6. Yeah, I would say like a 6 out of 10. Team building is extremely important when it comes to using Diablo. And not only is team building important, also positioning is extremely important. Since Diablo's Tempter passive is what you're going to probably be using him for majority of the time, you want to make sure that he's in one of the middle 2 slots. In terms of the characters I would recommend putting on either side of him, it really depends on what you necessarily want to do and who you want to prioritize getting the archgen. I would say mainly just try a bunch of different combinations and see what you like the best. Now in terms of how you would go about building a team around him, that's fairly simple. One of the main teams that everyone wants to use Diablo on is going to be your mono dark demon team, which is consisting of Diablo, Demon Lord Rimuru, Dark Vox, and Ainz at the current moment. This team is extremely good, like does stupid damage. One thing that you may be kind of worried about on a team like this is that, oh, you know, there's not enough healing, so Diablo can lose his passive, but with the stat buff that Dark Vox gives, you don't really ever have to worry about that because that 60% all stats up is practically a 60% heal to the entire team as well. Also, with the 2 heal slots on the team from Demon Lord Rimuru and Dark Vox, you should never have to worry about being too low on HP for Diablo. Of course, you can utilize other teams apart from Dark Demon teams. You can put this guy really anywhere you want to. Since he does give you that universal archgen with the passive, you could just throw him on a team if you need more arch generation, or if you want to make use of literally any of his many debuffs that he's able to apply. And that's one thing that I really love about this character is just the versatility he actually offers. You could use him specifically on a team that maybe is mostly consisting of physical damage dealers, and you want to utilize this unit's archgen, and he could work extremely well in those situations. Or you could use him on mainly a demon team that can utilize his entire kit, and he's going to go wild on that. And I guess even if you wanted to, you could use him as the main damage dealer. He does really good damage, especially if you're able to give him various damage buffs. However, the character isn't completely perfect. He does have some flaws that are a little bit much at times. Since his archgen passive only applies to characters on his left and his right, that means one character, and of course himself, will never be able to get that 6 arts per second. This isn't too bad for Diablo since he does have the 40 arc gauge skill, so he can kind of make up for it, but compared to using just a regular archgener that gives that archgen buff to everyone, it's like, well, Diablo kind of a little bit finicky when it comes to that, right? Another one is that if you're using this character alongside units like Demon Lord Rimuru or other various damage dealers that are a little bit quicker when it comes to their DPS, Diablo's animations can be quite slow, especially if you want to use the super art for the dark res down. Since Diablo has to fly up in the air, charge up the ball, then finally throw it, that takes a lot of time compared to Demon Lord Rimuru's super art that is just instant boom. And then the final thing that I would say really just kind of hurts this character if you're not able to kind of maintain it will be his strict HP restriction. Having to be above 90% HP just to keep the Tempter passive active is going to be extremely difficult in some situations or against certain fights, especially against a boss maybe like Ifrit that instantly drops all your HP to like near death, or against a boss that just sets your HP to 1 and you're not able to heal beyond that. It could be really difficult to get use out of Diablo, so whenever that stuff happens, I feel like he'll just go on the back burner and you won't be turning to this unit. But in terms of all other pieces of content in the game, these negatives aren't that bad, and Diablo's an extremely strong character. I really loved using him in all the different content that me and Brian tested him out in. He performed extremely well, dealt a ton of damage to so many bosses, and it's just a fantastic unit all around, especially if you have the Dark Demon team. That is the best team to put this man on because he just does work on that team. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to Diablo. Tell me down below what you guys think about him. You guys loving this character? You guys kind of whatever about him? Did you manage to get him, or did you not? Or did you luck out and get like Demon Lord Rimuru or Malim instead? Let me know all that type of stuff down below in the comment section. Again, huge shout out to my man Brian for allowing me to do this showcase, and last but not least, you guys already know, don't forget to drink water.